There was no famous music or instrument sounds, nor was there a show. There was no billion-dollar launch party. And yet, despite all this, everything had begun to change. In the shadow of aviation giants Airbus and Boeing, another name was quietly rewriting the rules of regional travel. This name did not come from Seattle or Toulouse, but from São José dos Campos, Brazil. The Embraer E2 Series, particularly the E190-E2 and E195-E2, may not have dominated the headlines, but they focused on what mattered most: reliability and efficiency. This is the story of how a quiet revolution began thousands of kilometers away from the main stage. A story of smart design over brute force, the story of software-supported savings and precisely tuned engines. And this aircraft had entered into competition with others, challenging them head-on. So how did Embraer achieve this? What makes the E2 series so efficient? And in a world obsessed with wide-body and long-range aircraft, is the true future of aviation regional? Embraer knew it couldn't outsize Boeing or outpower Airbus, but it could outsmart them. And that's exactly what it did. Instead of chasing jumbo jet dreams, Embraer asked a different question. What do small, newly emerging airlines need? No need for a big plane. What's most needed are beautiful, intelligently designed flights. Meet the E2 series, with Pratt & Whitney PW1900G geared turbofan engines, a redesigned high-wing aspect ratio, and advanced fly-by-wire systems. The E2 is far ahead of its competitors in every aspect except fuel efficiency. For example, the E195-E2 consumes 25% less fuel per seat than its previous model. This is not an evolution, this is a leap forward. However, perfection goes beyond numbers. The E2's cockpit is equipped with touchscreen avionics systems and simplified workflows. Its cabin, featuring a 2-2-seat configuration and larger overhead luggage racks, is designed for passenger comfort on short-haul flights. For example, small planes can land in places where large planes cannot, so this company turned a disadvantage into an opportunity by building a small plane. It takes extraordinary intelligence to do that. This is not just a regional aircraft, it is a strategic asset. How did it perform in the real world? Why are major low-cost airlines and boutique airlines flocking to this aircraft? This aircraft was a beacon for everyone. Azul in Brazil, Helvetic Airways in Switzerland, and Air Peace in Nigeria. Three very different markets, three very different missions. Everyone bowed down before this aircraft and wanted it. There had to be a reason for this. This aircraft could go where large aircraft could not. For Azul, the E195-E2 was the perfect workhorse for connecting remote cities across Brazil's vast geography to major hubs like São Paulo or Rio in an economical and frequent manner. For Helvetic, the E190-E2 offered a great... That opportunity was quieter aircraft instead of larger, louder ones. In West Africa, Air Peace found a jet in the E2 that could handle challenging weather conditions, shorter runways, and dynamic demand patterns. Each of these airlines realized something important. Cost or fuel efficiency was becoming increasingly valuable, making this aircraft a crucial opportunity. And there's one more thing. The Embraer E2 was designed for a world where medium-sized airlines matter. A world where regional airlines can dream bigger and fly farther without needing wide-body aircraft. It was about growing without giving competitors a chance. And that's why the big players started paying attention. Small aircraft generally failed, but how did one small aircraft succeed? And can Embraer finally step out of the shadow of Boeing or Airbus and into the spotlight? The Embraer E2 series, especially the E195-E2, is no longer just a regional aircraft. It is quietly redefining what small jets can achieve. With Pratt & Whitney geared turbofan engines, the E2 was spending much less than its competitors, while they were spending a lot. This is not a marketing claim. It is a reality that is changing the rules of the game in an industry where margins are very low and fuel prices are unpredictable. The situation is different inside the cabin as well. With wider seats, larger windows, redesigned overhead luggage racks, and a quieter cabin, The E2 competes head-to-head with jets twice its size in terms of passenger comfort. Many people don't even realize how important this aircraft is and how much it contributes to the world. However, the interesting part is this. Embraer didn't just produce an aircraft, it created a fleet strategy for airlines. Imagine a new airline company that needs to establish a presence in smaller cities. The E190-E2 has become an aircraft that allows it to fly to other destinations with ease. It offers the possibility of doing this cost-effectively, either by increasing demand or reducing maintenance costs. Thanks to COVID, everyone was relieved, and even companies that were struggling began to rise to the top. The true strength of the E2 isn't that it's the biggest or fastest, it's that it's exactly right for routes that don't need an A320 or 737, but still require range, comfort, and reliability. So, despite all this potential, can Embraer challenge the duopoly? And can anyone take this company to the top? The answer may be flying above your head right now. Can an engineering marvel of an aircraft overcome an obstacle? That obstacle is Boeing and Airbus because everyone uses their aircraft. These companies have massive marketing budgets, immense lobbying power, and order books that have been full for years. Even if you build the largest aircraft or the most beautiful aircraft, you still lag behind these companies and fall to third place. However, perhaps that is precisely what gives the E2 its advantage. While everyone was focused on the largest aircraft, this one overlooked something. It was the right size, cost-effective, and adaptable to the new era of aviation where point-to-point flights, environmental responsibility, and passenger experience have become priorities. This aircraft also changed the perception of aircraft worldwide. It decided to fly to places like Africa where no one else would fly, or to places where no one else flies. It plans to be the first to take the first step to newly built airports where no one else flies. In the post-pandemic world, where fleet flexibility is invaluable and fuel efficiency is paramount, the E2 is finally shining. And it's doing so not with noise and drama, but with quiet, confident efficiency. Without many unconfidence, in terms like client, whether 20 points and its significant lag size, in a spatial right points, power works for laws, that this study has have some competence. And the only question on everyone's mind is, will it face competition? The question is, can the big players afford to ignore this any longer? As the E2 series begins to carve out a new path in the sky, its impact is becoming increasingly difficult to overlook. Airlines that once dismissed smaller regional jets as limited or unprofitable are now re-evaluating their strategies. The traditional hub-and-spoke model is being challenged by point-to-point routes, especially in underserved or secondary markets. The E2 aircraft wasn't something that came to mind before, but now it's on everyone's radar. Take Porter Airlines in Canada, for example. Engineers challenged their colleagues to see if they could fly this aircraft long distances with minimal fuel. In Europe, airlines like Helvetic Airways are proving that the E2 is not just a regional aircraft, but a versatile, comfortable, and surprisingly competitive option in terms of cost per seat. And then there's the cabin. Some aircraft feel cramped and outdated, but this one feels like it's from the future. Thanks to larger windows, ample legroom, and advanced engine technology, the cabin is as quiet as a whisper, prompting passengers to ask themselves, wait a minute, is this an Embraer? It's not just airlines that are impressed, passengers are too. They've achieved something remarkable in a market where it's hard to make an impact. With every new delivery, every new route opened, and every satisfied passenger, the Embraer E2 is slowly but surely rewriting the rules for regional jets. But here's the real surprise. As global issues begin to cause disruptions around the world, every company is taking precautions. Do you think the E2 will be affected, or how will it weather this crisis? While the spotlight often shines on wide-body and long-haul legends, the Embraer E2 series is winning a quieter but more meaningful battle on every flight. Airlines operating in challenging regional markets with limited demand or strict airport restrictions are competing with the E2 and thriving there. With lower fuel consumption, improved delivery reliability, and a passenger experience that rivals larger jets, it's no surprise that airlines from Scandinavia to Southeast Asia are quietly doubling down on Embraer. In an industry obsessed with scale, could precision be the new power? The E2 has always lagged behind Boeing and Airbus, but this whisper is echoing across continents. and reshaping airlines' thoughts on efficiency, flexibility, and the definition of regional jets. This aircraft is the top of the line among quiet planes, a true engineering marvel, a philosophy that believes smaller can be smarter and quieter can be stronger. As the sky fills with larger and bolder aircraft, will the true number one take its place or fall behind? Could the future of aviation already be flying under our radar?